After he managed to turn me gay, I discovered that to him it was just a straight guy dare game he played with his bros when they were bored. Took it too far. He actually likes men. Disgusting. I knew when to walk away. On my way out, I bumped into his arch-rival. The boy raised a brow, a teasing smirk playing on his lips as he asked me, "Want to try someone new?" I agreed. And the arrogant, high and mighty Derek completely lost his mind. Chapter 1. Derek went to great lengths to chase me. Not long after I accepted his confession, I received an anonymous text message containing several screenshots of a group chat. Took it too far. He actually likes men. Disgusting. I scrolled through them one by one, finally understanding what was happening. It turned out that Derek chasing me was nothing more than a straight guy dare bet he had made with his brothers. I was his chosen target. The class monitor who, in his words, walked with a certain gait and had the most potential to be gay. To him, this was as thrilling as opening a mystery box. That was the only reason he chased me. That was the only reason he confessed. When I found Derek, he was bent over a pool table. Under his highbrow bone, his eyes were focused, fingers tight around the cue. The cross pendant on his chest swayed gently with his breathing. Several girls around him were secretly taking photos with their phones, whispering excitedly to their friends. I walked over, shoved Derek to the ground, and punched him right in the eye. "Derek, you bastard." I couldn't believe I had been played like a fiddle. Anger made my blood boil and my head spin. I wanted to throw another punch, but Derek had already flipped the situation, pinning me to the floor. He sat on my waist, his long legs locking my body in place. I couldn't move. What kind of crazy is this? He tilted his head, looking down at me with a cold tone. I glared at him, squeezing the words out through gritted teeth. "Straight guy dare." "Oh." Derek nodded thoughtfully. "I wanted to play for a few more days, to see what it's like for people like you to date. But since you know, it's boring now." He stood up from my body. His body heat seemed to linger on me, bringing an inexplicable sense of attachment. But in the next second, Derek lifted his foot and kicked me hard in the waist. He had trained in combat sports. That kick felt like it shattered my bones. There was definitely going to be a massive bruise. Sure enough, Derek looked at the bruise surfacing on my pale waist, his eyes darkening. He spoke with arrogance. "It's over. Get out." I left without hesitation. The pool hall, however, exploded into chaos. Derek appeared agitated and snapped his six-figure custom cue in half. His friend, Edwin, walked over. "Bro, in a bad mood? Go relax a bit. I heard the new girl here is young and fresh." Derek had a cigarette dangling from his lips. Amidst the swirling smoke, his narrow eyes looked even more oppressive. He wasn't actually interested, but there was something he needed to confirm. Derek leaned back on the sofa as the new girl ran her hands from his muscular forearm up to his chest. Just as her bright red lips were about to touch him, a face suddenly flashed through Derek's mind. Damn it, it was him again. Lately, whenever he got close to a woman, he would involuntarily think of Brant. Is homosexuality contagious? Was he infected? Derek pushed the woman off him as if he had been electrocuted. On his way out, he kicked over the bottles and glasses on the table. He cursed under his breath. Fuck, it's all that Brant's fault. Alcohol spilled all over the floor. It was a complete mess. The people in the room looked at each other, bewildered, wondering what kind of temper tantrum the young master was throwing this time. Chapter 2. I bought a hot hard-boiled egg at the convenience store and sat on the curb, grimacing as I pressed it against the bruise on my waist. That bastard Derek, he really didn't hold back. After applying the heat for a while, I peeled the shell and stuffed the egg into my mouth, chewing big bites as my eyes grew misty. Derek definitely didn't know what those 6 months of him chasing me meant to me. Because I was quiet and gentle growing up, the male classmates always ganged up to ostracize me, calling me a sissy. Because of that, I was even more afraid to let anyone know my sexual orientation. Until I met Derek in college. He was the young master of the Koch family, rebellious since childhood, picky and high maintenance. Yet he listened to everything I said. When I had a toothache in the middle of the night, he'd crawl out of his warm bed, hair messy, just to accompany me to the hospital. On dates, if I said I wanted pine nuts, he'd peel them one by one and line them up on the table. He thought he turned me gay, but actually, I liked men from the start, especially with a pursuit as gentle and passionate as his. When Derek confessed to me, his words were simple, but they truly touched my heart. Can you give me a chance to stand by your side and face everyone's judgment together? I saw everything. Your boyfriend hit you. That guy Derek really doesn't know how to cherish people. I squeezed the mineral water bottle hard, making a crinkling sound, hoping to add some intimidation factor. Are you that bored? Did you follow me just to laugh at me? Who said I'm here to laugh? Then what are you here for? To steal you away. The retort I had prepared got stuck in my throat, and I stared at him with wide eyes. Christian raised a brow, asking with a hint of lazy amusement. So, how about it? Want to try someone new? I swallowed. Who? Christian stared at me, a wicked smile on his lips, the meaning in his eyes self-evident. My slow brain finally caught up. This jerk was teasing me again. Fuck. I shot up from the stool, pointed at Christian, and shouted, "You're trying so hard to flirt with me just to make Derek uncomfortable, aren't you? It's useless. Derek is straight as steel. He has zero interest in me. Being with me was just a joke between him and his bros." I completely let loose, not caring that my voice was attracting sideways glances from passersby. Yes, I like guys, but do I deserve to be played like a toy by both of you? I vented all my dissatisfaction with Derek onto Christian. Christian seemed surprised by my sudden outburst. His expression turned serious, and he hesitated before speaking. You think? Is this fun for you? I cut him off before he could finish, my eyes uncontrollably heating up. Christian's half-open mouth snapped shut. After a long while, he let out a helpless smile. Brant, you really are. Chapter 3. What I really am, Christian didn't finish saying. His unfinished sentence left me pondering all the way back to the dorm. Just as my foot stepped onto the stairs, the motion sensor light flickered on. A figure leaning against the corner of the wall was revealed under the light, startling me. It was Derek. What was he doing here? The moment I saw him, my waist started to ache. I walked past him without looking sideways, catching the faint scent of alcohol on him. Before I could take a few steps, he pinned me against the wall. Derek pressed his hands against the wall beside my ears, the corners of his eyes tinged with red. Brant, tell me, did you infect me? Otherwise, why would I always be thinking about you? I used my hands to block him, preventing him from getting too close, and turned my head to the side. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey. Derek's hand found the bruise on my waist and gently rubbed it. Still angry with me? I apologize to you. I shouldn't have hit you. You know, besides my parents, no one has ever dared to lay a hand on me since I was little. He buried his head deep into the side of my neck. Brant, let's make up. I kicked Derek hard in the knee, retaliating for the kick he gave me earlier. He let go in pain. I said coldly, Derek, from the moment I saw those chat logs, it was over between us. I'm not joking around with you. We're breaking up. The motion sensor light timed out, plunging the stairwell into darkness. Unable to see, my hearing became exceptionally sharp. Derek was silent, but from his uneven breathing, I could sense he was about to explode. If you have nothing else, I'm leaving. Just as I stepped onto the stairs, someone grabbed the back of my collar. Almost gritting his teeth, Derek pressed his large hand against the back of my head, forcing my face against the wall. Don't be stubborn with me. I struggled. Derek, you're crazy. Let go of me. He leaned in, turned my face, and kissed me forcibly. I bit his lip until it bled. Once free, I held onto the corner of the wall and retched. Brant, do I disgust you? In the darkness, Derek's eyes flashed with anger. I glared back. Wouldn't you be disgusted if someone forced something dirty into your mouth? TCH. Derek actually laughed. He took a few steps back, sat on the stairs, and lit a cigarette. He returned to his usual nonchalant demeanor. He took a drag of the cigarette and said to me, Brant, you only dare to be tough with me alone. What if there were 2, 3, or a group of people? Derek rested one hand on his knee, holding the cigarette between his slender fingers, propping up his temple, looking at me with amusement. What do you mean? I stopped in my tracks. The man laughed low. Brant, you told me this yourself. You told me with your own mouth. You're afraid of being ganged up on and bullied. He deliberately exhaled a puff of smoke. This was the real Derek. Vile, capricious, approaching me wearing a mask just for a game to kill time. Pretending to be a gentleman. Acting so convincingly that I easily let down my guard. When school first started, my relationship with my roommates was terrible. Just because I wiped my sweat with tissues, they looked down on me. One roommate asked what sunscreen was good, and someone immediately chimed in with a laugh, glancing at my desk. You'll have to ask that sissy. They didn't need to use physical violence. Those words and actions were bullying my spirit. It was Derek who single-handedly beat up the 5 roommates who bullied me and helped me change dorms. After doing all that, he asked me somewhat angrily why I didn't fight back. Why else? I confessed to Derek that the shadows of my childhood made me instinctively afraid to resist. Derek hooked his arm around my neck and said it didn't matter. He would protect me from then on. Now, however, he held my weakness in his hand, like a landmine ready to explode at any moment, leaving me no peace. I was so anxious I didn't sleep well all night. The next day, the campus forum exploded. The video of me initiating a kiss with Derek, and him stepping back in fright, was posted online. There were also several screenshots of chat logs where he expressed disdain for me in the group chat. The comments went on for pages. I said, so, how could the young master of the Koch family have such low standards to fall for a gay guy? Sure enough, he was just playing. Is that backward step for real? I've rewatched it so many times. Dying of laughter. Image. He runs, he chases, he can't escape. JPG. Former roommate passing by. Thought he was sissy the moment I saw him at the start of school. Just thinking he might have fantasized about a straight guy like me makes me want to vomit. +1. Accidentally made eye contact with him in the cafeteria last time. Felt dirty. Is this the lesson Derek is teaching me? Just because I rejected him, he wants to ruin me like this. My hands trembling, I exited the interface, suppressed my fear, and went to class as usual. This period was PE class. Without Derek's protection, as soon as I arrived at the playground, the disdainful gazes of my classmates fell on me without concealment. Everyone automatically skirted around me, leaving a large empty space around me. The PE teacher shouted, "Stand closer, what are you doing?" Someone said loudly, "Teacher, he likes men." We're scared. Everyone burst into laughter. The PE teacher couldn't interfere too much in students' private lives and could only change the subject. Cut the crap. Remember what I taught last class? This class is mainly for practicing with partners. Aim for a good grade on the final. I froze instantly, because my tennis partner was Derek. We had agreed to choose this course together back then. Not far away, Derek held his racket, arms crossed, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, waiting for me to beg him. For the sake of my final grade, I could only brace myself and walk over. Derek, practice. Someone interrupted me. Edwin ran over from a distance, panting, "Derek, I'm late. Didn't delay practice, did I?" Derek ignored him, just smiling at me contemptuously. "Too late. I have a new partner." He emphasized the word new, then walked away side by side with Edwin. Look, after something like this happened, that gay guy still dares to shamelessly stick to him. Derek ignores him completely. I stood rooted to the spot. Once again, I became the laughingstock of the entire school. Chapter 4. I chose a secluded corner and practiced tennis against the wall. After playing for a while, I squatted on the ground watching ants move their home, feeling stifled inside. Footsteps approached from behind. It was Christian. He seemed to have just washed his hair. Standing a few steps away, he shook the water droplets from his hair before walking towards me. It looked like he was coming for me, but I had just cursed at him last night. I looked up somewhat awkwardly, making small talk like an old man exercising in the park. "Morning, here to exercise?" Christian pursed his lips and said, "I'll come to all your PE classes from now on to be your partner." So he saw the post on the campus wall and rushed over before his hair was even dry. I felt a surge of emotion. He was truly too loyal. Was there a more competent rival than him? Just to compete with Derek, he actually sacrificed his rest time to be my partner. I stood up and solemnly said to Christian, "For this loyalty of yours, I'll become sworn brothers with you. I will definitely cooperate fully to piss off Derek." Derek was playing me, but everyone has a bit of possessiveness, especially when facing provocation from a rival. Christian took the racket from my hand, water droplets still clinging to his brows and eyes, the muscles in his chiseled face tense. "Brant, don't force me to hit you." Why was he getting angry again out of nowhere? I touched my nose and sensibly shut my mouth. After playing a few rounds, I realized Christian didn't know how to play tennis at all. I stopped and walked to the court opposite him. Christian looked eager to try, gripping the racket, knees slightly bent, eyes looking determinedly ahead. "What did you come over for?" "Continue." He was getting addicted. I gestured for him to look at the bushes behind me. Several clumps of green plants were nearly bald from the balls he had hit flying. "You don't know how to play at all. Even your grip is wrong. I've been picking up the balls you hit flying the whole time. Don't be fierce with me." Christian shrugged to show weakness, suppressing a laugh. "I don't know how, Teacher Brant. Teach me." I was only thinking about the credits and didn't notice he was teasing me again. So I started teaching seriously. "Watch closely. See this bevel? Place your knuckles here, then slide down to the bottom. No, like this." I reached out to correct Christian's posture. Because I was too focused, I didn't realize my head had unknowingly leaned towards his chest. Nor did I notice that the students practicing on the court had stopped and were frequently looking our way, let alone sense Derek's gloomy gaze falling on me. I only felt that the temperature on Christian seemed to be getting higher and higher, steaming me until I felt a bit hot too. Just as I wanted to ask him what was wrong, Christian quietly put some distance between us, looking unusually embarrassed. "Don't get so close in the morning. It's too hot." There was a breeze. The temperature was just right. I asked, "Where is it hot?" He glanced at me with a complicated expression and pushed my back with his hand. "Just play ball." "Where do all these questions come from?" "Focus." He reached out to take the racket from my hand when a spinning tennis ball suddenly flew over and hit the back of Christian's hand right on target. A burst of exclamations. I looked in the direction the ball came from and met Derek's eyes. He stood not far away, looking as if covered in a layer of ice, his eyes fierce enough to eat someone, as if he had been betrayed. He stared at me for a full 5 or 6 seconds, then threw his racket and left the court angrily. Heartache. Seeing me staring blankly at Derek's back, Christian said, "If your heart aches, go chase him." I took a step forward wanting to pick up the knocked-away racket, but my wrist was grabbed. "You're not allowed to go." Christian's tone was a bit sharp, but his expression was aggrieved, making me feel like a heartless lover. "I took that ball for being your partner. You have to take responsibility and accompany me to the school infirmary." Christian's hand joint was slightly sprained. While I helped him apply medicated wine and bandage it, he made small talk out of boredom. "Brant, why didn't you resist when those people bullied you? Even getting angry would be good." He was talking about me silently enduring the ridicule of the surrounding boys during PE class. There are many of them. Conflict with them would mean standing in opposition to everyone. I would be completely isolated. Now it was just talk, which was already considered good. Only those who have been ostracized for years know how hard and tiring it is to try to maintain the status quo and not make oneself appear too alien. Just as Derek said, I didn't dare resist. But Christian said, "So what? Does bullying depend on the number of people? What did you grow fists for? Remember, in the future, no matter how many people, as long as they hurt you, punch them directly until they can't recognize their own mothers. Come, hit here." Christian pointed at his chest. I hesitated a bit, clenched my fist, and punched gently. He frowned. "Harder, pretend I'm Derek." I took a deep breath, gave him no time to react, and punched hard. Holy crap! Christian fell onto the wooden bench with a thud, clutching his chest with a painful expression. "I can tell you really hate him." I was amused by him. We didn't notice that our playful scene was secretly recorded by someone outside the window. Christian and I parted ways halfway. He had team matters and I happened to be hungry, so I walked towards the cafeteria. As soon as I entered the main door, I saw 2 familiar faces. Derek and his bro Edwin, sitting face to face, seeming to discuss something. "Found out yet?" Not far away, Derek idly poked at the tray in front of him, having no appetite. "Who sent those messages to Brant?" "Not yet." Edwin suppressed the unease in his heart and said enthusiastically, "But I saw Brant and Christian having a great time in the infirmary." Snap! The chopsticks in Derek's hand broke. His expression was gloomy. A video was already placed in front of him. In the video, Brant was bandaging Christian's wound, smiling on his pale face like a ripe tomato. Fine. Brant actually dared to smile so happily at another boy. Edwin observed his expression, secretly happy. He had liked Derek for a long time, but because he dared not say it, he always called him brother. Unexpectedly, Brant beat him to it. Is he even worthy? Out of the corner of his eye, he glimpsed a figure walking into the cafeteria door. Wasn't this the source of the trouble? Edwin added fuel to the fire. "Bro, how about I find a few people to teach him a lesson?" Derek stared at the video, his eyes almost piercing through the screen. He didn't speak, which counted as tacit consent. I came out of the cafeteria with my food. Just as I turned the corner of the door, I was pushed into the nearby tree-lined path by several boys. It was noon. Everyone had gone to eat and rest, and the few couples around were scared away. Without a word, they smashed my food, and fists fell on me like rain. I stood up, didn't say much, and swung a fist directly at the leader. They were provoked and hit harder. The sounds of fists and angry curses intertwined. But at this moment, I was like a crazy little wolf. Through my fists, I wanted to tear open that black curtain and reclaim a patch of sky for the bullied self of the past. I wanted to give my childhood self a hand. So I fought back recklessly, even with a bleeding nose. Finally, I was grabbed by the collar and pinned against a tree trunk. A fist raised high, aimed at my face. The next second, that person was kicked to the ground. Derek appeared in front of me, looking at me calmly. Brant, I can give you one more chance to come back to me. No one will dare treat you like this in the future. I spat the bloody foam from my mouth onto his face. Fuck off. Derek's face turned very ugly, emitting a cold aura. He took a handkerchief from Edwin and wiped his face. Did that bastard Christian teach you this? I grinned indifferently, my mouth full of the taste of blood. Didn't need him to teach. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I had long wanted to fight this group of self-righteous bullies waving the straight guy banner. Christian just gave me a push. Very good. Derek threw away the handkerchief, raised his foot, and stepped on it hard. Before leaving the path, he looked back at me. Brant, I hope you can maintain this arrogant courage in the days to come. I gave him the middle finger. Simple and direct. Chapter 5. Derek and I had a complete falling out, and he kicked me out of the study group chat. He was clearly intending to continue targeting me. But the final assignment required a group video on mental health issues. There was no way I could finish it alone. Anxious, I scrolled through my contact list, hoping to find one or two people to help. But there was no one. I started to regret it a little. Maybe I should have secured my credits before cutting ties with Derek? My finger absently swiped across the screen, and I discovered that the post exposing me initiating the kiss with Derek had gone viral again. A user with the ID drooling over my wifey had actually replied to hundreds of hate comments directed at me. With that kind of perseverance, he probably never missed a study session in his life. I couldn't resist clicking in to look. I knew it. The young master of the Koch family has such high standards. How could he be interested in a gay guy? He was definitely just playing around. Drooling over my wifey. Is that so? Why don't you ask him if he regrets it now? That step back was so real. I don't know how many times I rewatched it. Dying of laughter. Image. He flees, he chases, he cannot escape. JPG. Drooling over my wifey. With a sense of humor that low, be careful not to laugh out loud at your parents' funeral. Former roommate here. Thought he was a sissy the moment I saw him at the start of school. Just thinking he might have fantasized about a straight guy like me makes me want to vomit. Drooling over my wifey. Thanks, but our standards are high too. We don't look at average pigs. Check-in. Accidentally made eye contact with him in the cafeteria last time. Felt dirty. Drooling over my wifey. Me too. Implying the commenter is the dirty one. A name surfaced in my mind, but I wasn't sure. Suddenly, I had an idea. Instead of running around like a headless chicken looking for people, I posted a status update directly. Short on hands for the final video assignment. Any volunteers? Then, I set the visibility to only him. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The next day, since I didn't have an 8 a.m. class, I slept until I woke up naturally. Checking my phone, the fish had taken the bait even earlier than I imagined. The messages had come almost immediately after I posted the status. Christian, count me in for the team. How many more do you need? I have a bunch of bros in my team to fill the spots. Why aren't you replying? Did you find someone? Who? Which guy was faster than me? If this was just to get back at Derek, did Christian need to care this much? But then again, guys sometimes just loved playing pranks. I decided to observe for a while longer to see what Christian was really up to. I replied to him, no, just you. Okay. He followed it with a kissy face emoji. Seeing that emoji, I was a bit speechless, feeling metaphorical black lines dropping down my forehead. In the following days, I went to Christian's dorm every day to discuss the video assignment content and shooting details. Can we make the theme about the mental health issues of gay people? I asked in a low voice. Sure. Christian agreed without thinking and tossed me his jersey. It's dirty. Wash it for me, would you? Ever since he injured his hand, this guy constantly looked for excuses to make me wash his clothes. He called it repaying a debt of gratitude. Did he not know that I was so embarrassed I could curl my toes enough to dig out a mansion? The last time Christian asked me to wash his clothes, I had just arrived at his dorm door when I heard his bro ask, Christian, why are you picking out just the jersey to wash these days? Afraid the washing machine will ruin it because it's too thin? Bullshit. I've got someone to wash it for me. Ooh, someone to wash it? Are you looking for a laundry service? Or trying to hook someone? As it turned out, I was the one hooked. So when Christian tossed his jersey to me again, his brothers all looked at me in unison, then exchanged glances and erupted into ear-piercing laughter. They hooted and hollered like monkeys. I hugged the jersey and stormed out angrily, deciding to wash it back at my own dorm before returning it. That den of sports students all had something wrong with them. Wait, why was I carrying Christian's clothes out? My heart felt twisted into a pretzel. I wasn't paying attention on the road and bumped into Derek. The clothes slipped from my hands. The jersey fell to the ground, the back with Christian's name facing up, glaringly obvious. Derek's pupils contracted, and he clenched his fists, demanding, "Brant, you're actually washing clothes for Christian?" I picked up the clothes, intending to walk past him without looking sideways. "None of your business." Derek blocked me, refusing to let me leave. A single piece of clothing seemed to make him lose control. "I see you and Christian getting closer and closer. What exactly is your relationship? You're even washing his clothes." I was annoyed by his interrogation and pushed him away. "I'll wash clothes for whoever I want. Even if I washed his underwear, it's none of your business." Derek's eyes were icy as he gripped my arm to stop me. After a moment of stalemate, he asked as if he had made a major decision. "This jersey, you absolutely have to wash it?" Actually, it didn't matter if I washed it or not, but I just didn't want to do what Derek wanted. I nodded. Derek laughed out of anger. As if throwing caution to the wind, he snatched the clothes from my hands. "It gets washed either way, right?" My jaw dropped in shock as I watched Derek vigorously scrubbing Christian's jersey. He had always been pampered. When had he ever done this kind of work? Let alone washing his archrival's clothes. The jersey was crumpled into a ball, wrinkled beyond belief. Suds soaked his cuffs. Derek signaled for me to help roll up his sleeves, but I ignored him. Suddenly, he threw down the clothes dejectedly. "Brant, stop hanging out with Christian every day. Come back. I'll add you to my group." After saying that, he took a luxury watch out of his pocket. When he looked down at me, the anger in his eyes had turned into gentleness. "Didn't you say you liked this watch when we went out last time? Put it on." I froze, not moving. Derek said softly, "Brant, I'm giving you one more chance. Let's make up." This was already the third time Derek had asked for reconciliation. He wasn't the type to bow his head easily. Derek once raised a Tibetan Mastiff for 5 years. One day, the dog bared its teeth at him over food. He gave the dog away without blinking an eye. He never gave second chances. So I could sense that Derek might actually have some feelings for me. But that didn't justify the hurt he had caused me. I didn't answer. Glancing at the clothes, I said, "If it's washed, go ahead and hang it up." Once again, I didn't give this young master any face. He clenched his fists and slammed the door hard as he left. Chapter 6. I started preparing to record the video assignment for psychology class. The location agreed upon with Christian and the others was the campus lake. The shore was home to quite a few ducks and geese, which would serve as a perfect background. I arrived early. While I was adjusting the equipment, a large goose suddenly snatched my camera bag from the ground. I immediately grabbed its thick wing and wrestled the bag back with force. Unexpectedly, this wild goose acted as if I had stolen its treasure. It puffed out its chest, glared at me with bulging eyes, spread its wings wide, and started chasing me all over the place. "Damn it, help!" Seeing Christian and the group walking towards me from a distance, chatting and laughing, I ran towards them like I saw a savior. I couldn't brake in time and crashed directly into Christian's chest. The impact made him spin around while holding me. The goose aimed right for Christian's butt and gave it a vicious peck. "Holy crap!" Christian yelled, hugging my waist tightly and resting his chin on my shoulder. His expression twisted in pain. As the culprit, I felt a little guilty. "Are you okay?" He rested on my shoulder for a moment before his complexion returned to normal. "It's actually quite soft." Christian suddenly blurted out this sentence, then pinched my waist. "Fuck, this guy really is a lek." Pushed him away. "Goose, peck him again." Aside from that small accident, the filming process went smoothly. After we finished, I treated everyone to a late-night supper. After all, Christian and his friends weren't from my department. Helping me film was a favor, and they wouldn't get any credits for it. When the boss brought the noodles over, Christian took a spoon and very naturally picked out all the green onions from my bowl. Something was wrong. Very wrong. How did he know I didn't like green onions? On the way back to the dorm, I couldn't stop glancing at Christian. "Something on your mind?" He lowered his eyes. I put on a fierce front and deliberately started picking a fight. "Speak. How do you know I don't like green onions? What is your purpose in getting close to me? Confess honestly." Christian chuckled lightly. He took my hand, intertwining his fingers with mine and locking them tight. Holding my hand in that interlocked position, he said playfully, "My lord, this humble servant wishes to pursue this kind of relationship with you." Ah! His move was too smooth. I was completely outmatched. Just as I was about to pull my hand back, the sharp wind of a punch grazed Christian's cheek. "Don't touch him." Christian's eyes turned cold. He let go of my hand and started fighting Derek. Both of them had training and every punch hit flesh. They were like two beasts in a coliseum, tearing at each other regardless of the consequences. It was as if they wouldn't stop until there was a winner. The fight was intense, and there were even splatters of blood on the ground. Disregarding everything else, I stepped in front of Christian, watching Derek's fist about to fall, and closed my eyes. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. I opened my eyes. Derek was looking at me with disbelief. His peach blossom eyes, usually so attractive, were now covered in red veins. His lips moved slightly, and his whole face was trembling. After a long time, he let go of my collar, said nothing, turned around, and walked away. I slumped to the ground, still reeling from the fear. Christian wanted to come over and help me up, but I turned sideways and stood up on my own. Let's call it a day. You should go back and rest too. Christian froze in place. As I was entering the dorm gate, he called out to me. Brant, I'll wait for you. My heart skipped a beat. Back at the dorm, I went downstairs again to throw out the trash. As I passed the dorm caretaker, he adjusted his reading glasses and looked me up and down. That boy named Derek just now, he came looking for you, right? You weren't in the dorm, so he waited at the door all day. He stayed there the whole time. Was it something urgent? I shook my head. As I threw the trash into the bin, I saw a trampled, smashed cake with a card stuck in it. Brant, happy birthday. Only then did I remember, today was my birthday. Thinking of Derek's painful, suppressed gaze just now. It turned out he had come to celebrate my birthday, but coincidentally saw me holding hands with Christian, which was why he lost control. Someone as proud as him would never voice something that made him feel so embarrassed. So he threw the cake away. But what does that have to do with me anymore? Chapter 7. My psychology video project was selected by the teacher to be screened in class as an exemplary assignment. The content was simple. It was roughly a story about a protagonist who liked boys, overcoming his inner insecurity, and finally getting together with another boy. The video ended with a scene of Christian and me kissing, the screen fading to black as the story concluded. This scene was a last-minute decision between Christian and me. We had originally planned to use camera angles to fake it. But the moment he got close, I was so nervous my face contorted. Finally, Christian impatiently held the back of my head and planted a clean, decisive kiss on me. That was a wrap. The classroom erupted in whispers. That's disgusting. How dare Brant film something like this? Gays are so shameless. Facing these cold remarks, I walked onto the podium, scanned everyone in the audience, and said firmly, "That's right, I like men. From today on, you are no longer the source of the fear that forces me to hide my sexual orientation. You mean nothing to me." Suddenly, there was a knock on the classroom window. Christian, with bruises still on his face, wore a brilliant smile. He pointed at me, paused for a moment, then breathed onto the glass and drew a heart. This gesture brought the atmosphere in the classroom to a boiling point. I walked off the podium and returned to my seat. From behind me, Derek asked, "Brant, have you decided? Is this your choice?" I turned my head to look at that fading heart on the window. Of course, if you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.